red in the Rhone Valley are very special wines. They are, of course, very well known. And the first one I'd like to talk about is the Côte du Rhône. The Côte du Rhône is a very important wine in our winery. It's produced in southern Rhône only, but with a very special balance linked to very special blends. So a majority of Syrah, we're talking about 50% Syrah. We're talking about 45% Grenache, the typical Grenache of the southern Rhône, and a little touch of Mourvedre. It's a wine that is tremendously flexible. Some people drink it every day, some people keep it for the special occasions. We age it during 1 year, 1.5 years in the large barrels that we call the four. And let's say it's a wine that we produce at a rather large scale, but where we pay a lot of attention to every detail when we do blends, when we do the agings and so on. Staying in the south, we have two important wines that are Gigondas and Châteauneuf-du-Pape. Gigondas is an expression of Grenache plus Syrah plus Mourvedre. We're very interested in the Mourvedre and Gigondas, giving the strength, the body, the frame of this wine. It's almost a rustic southern wine that will age extremely well. Châteauneuf is extremely well known in the US. It's a big success. It's a tremendous appellation with a lot of Grenache, 85% Grenache, 5% Syrah, 5% Mourvedre. And if I count well, 85 plus 5 plus 5 gives 95. So you're going to say, what's left? 5% for the 10 other grapes that you can theoretically use in Châteauneuf-du-Pape, because there can be up to 13 different grapes. So it's an historical appellation. It's a tremendous wine. It has the warmth and the richness of the Grenache when it's young, but it's got an outstanding aging potential for the future. Then when we talk about Northern Rhône, this is where we are today, in the northern part of the Rhone Valley, starting with the Crozes Hermitage that you have here. And Crozes Hermitage is a matter of Syrah only, so 100% Syrah, typical Northern Rhone Syrah with the pepper side, with the spiciness of the Northern Rhone Syrah. I'd like to talk about Saint-Joseph. It's an appellation that is not very well known in the US, but it's also an appellation where I'm convinced it can climb very, very high in terms of quality. So Saint-Joseph, we have a regular Saint-Joseph, a classical Saint-Joseph with this kind of label. And we produce other Saint-Joseph and a luxury Saint-Joseph named Vin de l'Hospice, which is a really astonishing and outstanding wine just in front of the Hermitage hillside. It's a very, very, very special treat. It's followed by the northern appellations that are Côte Rôtie and Hermitage. So starting with the Hermitage, it's a small hillside, 100% Syrah, very powerful, very tannic wines, big structures, big shoulders, wines that are built for the future. And Côte Rôtie, I don't need to think anymore because I just have my heart talking when it's about Côte Rôtie. We are here in Côte Rôtie. Côte Rôtie is a very complex appellation. It stays a small appellation planted with Syrah and a little touch of Viognier. So there are a little bit of white grapes in between the red grapes in Côte Rôtie. The most famous Côte Rôtie we produce is the Côte Rôtie Brunet Blonde. I have to mention an outstanding legend in Côte Rôtie, saying that at the 16th century time, that is to say the French Renaissance time, the owner of the Château d'Ampuis, named the Marquis de Maugiron, would have had two daughters, one blonde-haired girl, and when she got married, he decided to give her half of his being the Côte Blonde, and one brunette, and when she got married, he decided to give the other half the Côte Brune. So this is what 99% of our visitors will remember from their visit in Côte Rôtie, about the blonde and the brune. But the soils are very different, the terroirs are different, the exposure of the climate. So we have a very complex appellation, and all this complexity can be found in this traditional Côte Rôtie, in this traditional bottle named Côte Rôtie Brunet Blonde, an aging of 36 months in oak barrel, which is a long aging. It's followed by the Côte Rôtie Château d'Ampuis, that you can see here. The Château d'Ampuis is the selection of our best estate vineyards. It's very old vines, about 75 years old in average. It's very low yields. It's an outstanding of 38 months. It's part of our very, very best wines. And of course, naming the three Lalas, La Mouline, La Turque and La Landonne, that are our three iconic wines produced here. La Mouline being a Côte Blonde, 1 hectare only, about 5,000 bottles. La Turque being a Côte Brune, bad news, a little bit less than 1 hectare. and about 4,800 bottles. And La Landonne being located northern the Côte Brune, with a soil rich in iron oxide and manganese, making very big, very tannic, very powerful wines. About 2.3 hectares, 12,000 bottles, 100% Syrah. These wines are produced in very small quantities. They are very difficult to get, but I think it's nice to experience them once in a while, because it's, let's say, the purest expression of the typical terroirs that you can have in Côte-Rôtie. They are aged during 42 months in these cellars, and these cellars are worth being visited. So if you have the opportunity to come to the Rhone Valley, we'll be very happy to welcome you. And I've got a great news for you to end this short presentation. We have a new vintage every year.